Hey, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in the gospel, abroad, living up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is the Akia Mahalaya coming back with another quick lesson. World War III update. A very pivotal move in prophecy had just pretty much just surfaced on the chessboard. It says World War III, Finland and Sweden join NATO, okay, which is a very strategic move into Bible prophecy. If you understand the history of the vassal nations, which a vassal state is basically a state that have limited amount of authority congruent to major states. Okay, so basically they're under a partnership or alliance with a greater successor state, so to speak. Like you got interchangeable states, like at a point in time you had Ireland and Great Britain, okay, which Ireland would be considered a vassal state to Britain because they're of the same stock, but at a time Britain was dominant over those particular subsidiaries, man, and that's just an example. Okay, so what you're seeing now with these merging of the European nations, which is 28 nations, which equates down to 10, strategic moves are being made because the NATO and the EU, which represents the beast or the 10 kings that you read about in Revelation, the 17th chapter. That's a very formidable alliance to come against Russia, okay, in the Eastern Bloc, because now you have the guy, this guy, what's his name, Erdogan, I can't pronounce it, but the Turkish president, basically, he's playing both sides of the fence, man. Okay, because if you understand, Finland is basically like a safety haven for those particular terrorist groups, so to speak. You know, like a refuge city, so to speak. But he's playing both sides of the fence because technically he's part of NATO, but yet he's gearing more towards Russia and the Eastern Bloc, that former old Soviet style alliance, which we already said that is going to come to be a war between the West and the different Eastern nations, man, including Russia, which Russia is technically, I believe, is like northeast. If I'm not mistaken, it's far north. But regardless of that, this is a very strategic move in prophecy. All right. And hey, man, all hell is getting ready to break loose. And like we've always said, by the time World War III manifests itself, you're going to have all types of turmoil here in the West, such as an economic collapse, okay, a resurfing of a digital dollar, which we know is the MOTB, which is pretty much this dollar's on its way out. And this is the reason why these nations are forming alliances, because they know that they're going to have to go to war behind the currency because of what's happening behind the scenes, even though it's obvious, but mainstream, they're not really speaking on it so much, but they are going into it. But you know, like I said, if you blink, you miss something. But see what Russia and other nations are doing. They have what they call the BRICS nations. Okay, you have the OPEC nations, you have BRICS, all right, which is coming together to form their own centralized currency. All right, and in order for the United States to remain the world reserve dollar or the power, they have to go to war behind this dollar. Okay, because what's happening is these nations and these foreign nations, they basically are taking their reserves out of the dollar. So therefore, you're seeing the devaluing of the dollar as we speak. That's why you have inflation, which they're trying to blame on the war in Ukraine. But that's just part of it. Okay, the dollar's been collapsing since it's been taken off the gold standard back in 71. Okay, during the Nixon administration. So with that being said, man, this just America she's basically on life support. Okay, this is a whore that's getting ready to die out. And the only thing they can do is go to war, because like the elites say, hey, shit, war creates wealth. Okay, and this is another way of Babylon to try to reestablish themselves as world dominance, but that's not going to happen because the Russians see it. Okay, the Turks see it. The other nations, they see it. China, okay, Korea, they seeing the flaw in this design of this whore, and they're seeing her at her weak point. So this is a time that they can strike. Okay, because what's going to happen eventually is that all these nations, Finland, Sweden, Australia, all these nations that's part of NATO and the EU, somehow, some way, they're going to come against this whore. And my personal opinion, okay, which, you know, my opinion really don't matter, but just through the spirit, I believe that what's going to turn these other nations or America's allies against them is when the dollar collapse, because these other nations, low key, they're not really vibing with each other. Like, they're not vibing with Babylon the Great. They're not vibing with America because of the ruinous decisions that they made. Like, right now, you have NATO forces out there in the Ukraine training the Ukrainians under the Nazi regime, so to speak. But you're sending a lot of soldiers to be killed off by the Russians, and they know that America is behind this Western hegemony pulling the strings. So with that being said, that's causing the expense of these other European allies. And they're like, well, look, we're not going to keep fighting your battles, but yet you get to walk away with all the gold. Nah. So that's going to cost a lot of infighting, man. You know, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this video. Got a couple of precepts here, but this is a very, very strategic move. This is prophecy, man. And hey, we almost the hell up out of here. Lord's will be found worthy. So without further delay, here we go.
We will demonstrate that NATO's door remains open by inviting Finland and Sweden to join our alliance. So today, leaders have endorsed NATO's new strategic concept. And it is published as we speak. And this is the new strategic concept. The current one was agreed in 2010. And this is very different compared to what we agreed back then. It makes clear that Russia poses the most significant and direct threat to our security.
Right. Now, I'm going to say this, and another reason why they're making this such a desperate attempt is because you heard what he just said. He said this is basically an attempt to stop Russia, because now Russia is talking about using tactical nukes. Okay, this is another way to keep the Western hegemony afloat, because they know that eventually they're going to clash for Russia. Like we've been saying, that's the Ezekiel 38 prophecy, man. Gog and Magog. Okay, they're going to clash for Russia regardless, because this is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's program. That's his determination, that Babylon is destroyed. And this is some bullshit. They didn't start mourning until I started doing the lesson. When I was getting ready to do the lesson, that's when these people start mourning, man. That's Satan. But nonetheless, they know that they're going to go to war with Russia. I mean, it's just inevitable, especially if they want to come together and they want to form this new world order. They got to go to war, and they're going to go to war behind this dollar, because this dollar is on its way out of here. And at the same time, while they're warring behind that, they're going to try to introduce the MOTB, which we know as the, you know what, the CHIP. All right. And I have to watch how I say it, because, you know, when I make certain comments or certain statements on my videos, they flag them. You know, this devil is a damn hater, but whatever. But anyway, let's go.
Current concept, we state that Russia is a strategic partner. In the current concept, we do not mention China with a single word. In this, allies states that China's coercive policies challenge our interests, security, and values. The decision to invite Finland and Sweden to become members demonstrates that NATO's door is open. It demonstrates that President Putin did not succeed in closing NATO's door. NATO's door remains open. And it also demonstrates that we respect the sovereign right of every nation to choose their path. So we, of course, respected Finland and Sweden when they decided to stay out of NATO for many, many years. But then we also welcome them and respect their decision to join NATO. Allies will continue to provide major military and financial help. And today, leaders agreed to strengthen our support by agreeing a comprehensive assistance package for Ukraine. This includes secure communications, fuel, medical supplies and body armor, equipment to counter mines and chemical and biological threats, and hundreds of portable anti-drone systems. Also, it's very clear that allies are prepared for long haul. Wars are unpredictable, but we have to be prepared for the long haul, and that was also the clear message to all of us in the room from President Zelensky, and our answer was yes, we are prepared. Because they are fighting for their independence, but they're also fighting for values which are important for NATO, fundamental for NATO. The sovereignty, the territorial integrity of every nation, and therefore this matters for our security. Allies are also investing more in modern capabilities, contributing more to NATO deployments and exercises, and we have agreed to increase NATO's common funding. To finance the facilities we need for reinforcement, as well as more training and more exercises, command.
Yep, so that's the whole point. You heard it from the horse's mouth. They know they're going to war. Okay, so I pulled it up. These are the 28 European nations here, the countries, which equals 10 kings that you read about in Revelation. You have Italy here. All right. You have France, Belgium, which NATO was formed, I believe, in like 49, if I'm not mistaken, to combat the USSR, which is known as the Soviet Union. All right. Because, hey, they perceived them to be an imminent threat to world peace. But in fact, you American Edomites, you Western devils are the biggest threat. And the Russians, I mean, you're all a bunch of Edomite devils. But regardless of that, man, the Most High is going to make you have a clash that you're going to have to fight World War III. Okay, and that's just Bible prophecy. So you got France, Belgium, Greece, Denmark, Germany, Poland, and a lot of these are interchangeable. Like you got you had Ireland and you had Great Britain. Okay, that's still part of one. It says Poland, Hungary, Finland. Okay, which says Finland currency, which is the euro, which right now the euro is pretty much jumping. A lot of nations are dealing in trading in euros right now. Okay, so it says here Ireland, which their currency is the euro, Austria, Latvia, Sweden, Spain, Croatia, it says Luxembourg, Romania, Bulgaria, Malta, Netherlands, Portugal, Estonia, and Slovenia. Okay, so when you go to this chart here, and I'll pull this up, and this pretty much breaks it down. Okay, those 7 kings, which you had Germanian Minor, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germanian Minor, Germanian Major, the British and the Greeks, man, and you got America, which is the whore. Now, when you come over here, like I said, NATO, which stands for National North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was started in 49. It says it was established August 4th of 1949, consisting of 19 nations, okay, which is Greece, Italy, Spain, France, West Germany, the United Kingdom, Portugal, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Canada, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Turkey, which Turkey is pretty much partnership with Russia, United States, Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic. Okay, it says these nations makes up the NATO, which is the beast. All right, so these 7 governments or 7 heads or 7 governments ruled by Esau Edom. All right, so hey man, this thing is getting ready to go down because these are going to be the 2 opposing forces that's going to lead to the demise of the West, man. All right, so this is the book of Revelation 17, and I'm gonna start at 1. It said that came it says that came one of the 7 angels which had 7 vials and talked with me, saying, come hither, and I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sit upon many waters, okay, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. And that whore is talking about America, right? And it says the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of our fornication. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit to the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And this is what we're looking at. Okay, the woman of the scarlet-colored beast is Esau Edom. Okay, because scarlet goes into red, which another way of red means crimson. Okay, you can look that up. But the scarlet-colored beast being Esau and America being a whore, that spearhead these governments, man. Okay, because we always go into the trilateral cities. You got Great Britain, you got the Vatican, which is in Italy, and then you have the United States, which is the militia behind it. Okay, you have the monetary value, you have the spirituality aspect, and then you have what they call the militia aspect, because behind every fortress, you have to have some type of firepower behind it, which is America, man. Okay, and that's those 3 unclean spirits that it was talking about in Revelation. I believe that's the 16th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Like it says the 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, if I'm not mistaken. Have to go back and read it. But and it reads here, and a woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones. And some people read that and say, oh, that's talking about the Roman Catholic Church. No, that's not talking about the Roman Catholic Church. All right, that's talking about Babylon the Great, or America, man, or these governments. Okay, this was not reduced to a 2-foot square mile island called the Vatican. No. Okay, and it says here, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in our hand full of abominations and the filthiness of our fornication. Okay, and what's the fornication? For one thing, okay, you have the Israelites over here in captivity, which we were forced to serve other gods made of wood and stone. Then you have the Momo agenda, okay, and everything that came against Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, blaspheming the name of the Lord, putting us in captivity, crucifying the Lord's image, pushing that image here, and the list goes on. And it says here, and upon her forehead was written, mystery Babylon the Great. Why was it called a mystery? Because at that time that this was written, okay, when the angel gave the revelation to John on the island of Patmos, okay, during the last phases of the Roman Empire, you have to understand that it wasn't a such thing as America. We didn't know as it being America. That's why it was a mystery, because this revelation wasn't broken down until recently, man. Okay, because Esau wasn't bringing out this type of information. Well, nor was he extrapolating this information from different sources. Okay, when the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, came on the scene, the Spirit had them to break down this information, and we learned it, and we was able to break it down through the precepts and the history, you know, and just understanding common sense. When you think about it, you're like, wait a minute, why is every kingdom on the planet Earth mentioned, but the worst kingdom on the planet is not mentioned, which is America? It's clearly obvious that when it goes into that great city, it's talking about Babylon the Great. It makes sense that it will be this kingdom. Why will every kingdom in the Bible be mentioned, from the Greeks to the Persians and the Medes, man? Okay, so when the Persians took down, they took down Lydia, they took down Babylon, they took down Egypt, man. Okay, like when you go into Daniel the 8th chapter, it goes into the 3 bones and the mouth of that particular beast, going into Lydia, Egypt. Okay, go into Babylon being taken down by the Persians and the Medes. Okay, and then you got to understand that Darius the Mede was pretty much taken down by Alexander or Alexander the Great and his generals. You see, but anyway, that's just a lesson for a different time. But it says, and upon her forehead was written the name Mystery Babylon the Great, and the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And what's the main abomination? The for one thing, putting the Israelites in captivity. Second of all, you have what they call the Momo agenda once again, because we are in the PRIDE month. Okay, and now you have this whole abortion thing skyrocketing. These women are losing their damn minds. It's to the point that this place is a big fucking circus. All right, and it says, and I saw a woman drunken with the blood of the saints of the Israelites, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushai. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration, because he marveled at her. She was a beautiful woman, because in the vision that he was given, he seen a beautiful woman. He seen a woman, a comely woman, not delicate, but he seen a comely woman, which comely goes into beautiful or being fair to look upon. All right, and the angel said it to me, wherefore this thou marvel? It says, he said, like, what the hell you marveling for? Like, this whore is nothing to look favorably upon. That's just like when you see the big booty chick going down the street, you know she's something is off with her. She probably got like 144,000 bodies on her, but she got a nice body on her to the point you're like, damn, she's bad. And then nigga like, nah, you don't want to touch that, bro. She done did every nigga in the hood. Like on Don't Be a Menace, he said, stupid. Don't you realize you just kissed every nigga at the party? Because he was kissing down Daishiki. And yet she had a baby with every nigga in the party. But anyway, it says, I will tell thee a mystery of the woman and the beast that carried her, which had 7 heads and 10 horns, going back into this illustration here. Okay, once again, Germania Major, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germania Minor, the British, the Greeks, America, Spearhead, etc. And it says here, and the beast that thou sawest and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose name were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. And when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is, okay? Because you got to understand, like I said, the Romans was on the scene when this was written, okay? So when it says that the beast that was and not is, going into the NATO and the EU, all right? And going down to verse 9, it says here, and here in the mind, it says, here in the mind which have wisdom, the 7 heads are 7 mountains, which we just broke down or read, on which the woman sitteth. Okay, and it says, and there are 7 kings. See this? Okay, it says 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Okay, so you got Great Britain. Okay, this says that which cometh, he must continue a short space. And it says here, and the beast that was and is not, even he is of the 8th, and is of the 7 and going into perdition, okay? Because you got to understand that America gained its independence from Great Britain, okay? So that's why it says he is of the 8th, but of the 7, because the 7th head was there, Britain, because America was considered the little horn. America didn't have its own particular head because it was interchangeable with Great Britain, because during the Second World War, remember that the British Empire, they lost their preeminence in the world because the British pound was pretty much a collapsed currency. Okay, and that's when they was able to finagle their way in there and establish the US dollar as the world reserve currency. And at that time, it had a gold standard or gold backing by it. Okay, and it says here, and the beast that is and was not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7 and going to perdition. So you're going to perdition, meaning destruction. Okay, because what's going to be the end of Babylon the Great? Through nuclear war. Okay, World War III. All right, which is currently brewing up as we speak. That's why I said through the spirit, by the time the MOTB prophecy is fully esteemed, you're going to already have those other nations threaten to shoot nukes, because they're already talking about Russia using tactical nukes, because they may run out of certain weaponries and certain missiles at a certain period of time. All right. But it says here, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Okay. And there's no point, and it's no coincidence that Sweden and Finland joined NATO. Okay. Because now all these nations and all these puzzle pieces are starting to connect, because what's the imminent threat? Russia, China, Iran. Okay, so Ezekiel 38 is getting ready to come off, is jumping off the pages, man. So brothers, we ain't got that long to go. Like, we're literally at the end of this thing. Okay, and it says they received their 1 hour with the king. Okay, and that I believe that 1 hour goes into that 1 hour goes into 41.6 years. Okay, and it says here, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are the 10 kings which have received no kingdom as of yet, but received power as the kings 1 hour with the beast, which NATO and EU equals 1 hour, which equals 41.6 years. And it says here, these have one mind, and they should give their power and strength to the beast, which, hey, NATO and the EU, the beast, or NATO. And it says, and these should make war with the Lamb, which is Yahushai, and the Lamb shall overcome them. Okay, going back into Daniel, the 7th chapter. Okay, when the Lord said that he should set up a kingdom that should destroy and consume all these kingdoms and break them into pieces. This is the prophecy that Daniel saw in the vision. All right, like oftentimes prophets, they all dreamed of similar visions, okay, though they may have worded it differently, but a lot of them was alluding to the same thing. Like, if you want to understand Daniel the 8th chapter, you can read Daniel the 11th, but also if you go into First Maccabees and First Maccabees, the 1st chapter, First Maccabees, the 3rd chapter, it goes into how Seleucid, or the Seleucid dynasty, okay, which was parted among Alexander's 4 generals, Seleucid basically took over parts of the east, man, okay, and he fell sore upon the Holy Land, or the pleasant land, which is considered Israel or Jerusalem. You see, so you can read about different points of history, which makes the Apocrypha relevant, man. That's why it's good to get into the history of the Apocrypha, because it goes into missing puzzle pieces. Because if you read Daniel the 11th chapter and you don't really understand history between the generals and how the Greeks, how they split up into 4 different empires, that's a big piece of history missing, and you won't understand what it's talking about. That's why they took the Apocrypha out of the Bible. But it says here, for he is the Lord of lords and kings of kings, and they that are with him are called chosen and faithful, which is the elect. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Okay, because hey, look at this, going back here: Italy, France, Belgium, Greece, Denmark, Germany, Poland, and the list goes on, Lithuania, etc. It goes on. But it reads here, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right, because when these other nations start to pull their money out of the US dollar, like a lot of nations, they're using euros right now. Okay, like right now, okay, you got the Russian ruble. Okay, you got the euro. These other nations, they're dealing with dollars because they have to use it within oil and converge over to oil. But overall, these nations are trying to succeed from the US dollar because it's a debt note. It's a fiat currency. And that's one major benefactor on why they will come against this whore. Makes a lot of sense. It says here, and for the Most High have put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled, which is the end. And the woman which thou sawest, that is the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, man. Okay, so this is a done deal, man. America is getting ready to be destroyed. All right, so anyway, brothers, man, Lord's will you will edify, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. And with that, Shalom and Baba.